Hey guys, my name's Matt, and today we're going to be doing orientation on your new 2021 bus. So congratulations on that first off. We're going to go through it today and kind of go through all the compartments, open up the cabinets, and just talk about a little bit what's going on here. So let's get started. So the first compartment that we have, this is one of the two diesel fuel fills. You have one on the opposite side as well. It goes to the same tank. And the only thing you really need to know about this is you should only fill from one side at a time. Don't pull into a gas station and try to fill both at once. You're going to put too much pressure in there. But a couple things pull from that. Of course, your engine, your Aqua Hot system, and your generator all pull from the same tank. So pretty convenient. In your first storage bay here, we say in the basement, this is going to be your fridge or freezer, whichever or however you decide to use it. There's temperature control settings on this side here. You could set it below freezing to make it a freezer, or set it in a higher temperature just to work as a fridge. And it gives you some good storage. A couple different grates in there. You can keep your food separated. And that's all on a slide-out tray. This here is a remote, and this is going to power your main awnings. First, we're going to want to unlock the remote itself, and you have three different channels. Channel 0 is going to control both front and back awnings simultaneously. Channel 1 is going to do the front awning, and channel 2 is going to do the rear. So let's go back to channel 0 and click out and take a look at your awnings. Okay, and we can stop that at any point in time, just like that. And you can work them independently. That's the beauty of having a few different channels. You have a couple different awnings on this side too. You also have your window awnings, and that's what this pull rod is for. What we're going to do is loop this around, give that a pull. And that just attaches into this little slot down on the body of the coach. And this is a magnet. So all you have to do is attach it onto that little bracket there. Now in the second bay back, you have your slide-out tray. And this is all power. The remote is on the door itself. So if we click out, this will come out all the way. It's rated for 1,000 pounds, but that's evenly distributed weight. On this tray, we have a few things. You have additional chairs that go to the dinette inside. You have additional tiles for the floor. Some vacuum hose supplies for the central vac. And behind that, there's a white box. It's kind of tough to see, but you have an induction cooktop, and that's the cookware for it. They give you a little starter kit because you need special cookware. This wrench is for the back wheels. It's just to take off that exterior hub, and we already saw the awning for the window awnings, or the pull rod. So this is your outside TV and sound bar. Now this TV is connected to every device inside. It's connected to your Blu-ray player, your satellite, and TV antenna. So it can play any one of those feeds. And those are all connected through this infrared sensor right here. So even though those appliances are on the inside of the coach in the bedroom, you can still turn them on and control them, all because of this little sensor right here. You have some USB ports down here as well. And like we said, the sound bar, you can play the TV through the sound bar or connect your phone to it, play some music. So there's a lot of things you can do in this entertainment center here. It's pretty nice. Now in your next basement compartment, it's just a little bit more storage. Here you're going to find an extra belt for the engine and the remaining piece to the ladder so you can hop up on the roof. And we'll show you that in a minute. So in this storage bay, you have two 110 outlets that are on a GFCI. You have above that your central vac, and you can connect the vacuum out here, and you can clean out the storage bay or vacuum out your car. This is also where the bag is released from as well. So this is where the bag sits, and you can change that out once it gets full. So behind this door, not too much going on. It's the backside to your fridge. You know, if a technician had to diagnose or repair something, it's just quick, easy access. Same with this, not too much going on. Behind all of this is your holding tanks. Your gray tank, your freshwater tank is back here. And to fill the freshwater tank, you can pop this cap off, and now you have a gravity fill. You can hook up a hose to it, you can dump water in or sanitizer, whatever works best. All right, guys, this is a new feature for 2021 buses. These are side-mounted cameras. It gives you an aerial 360 view of the coach while you're driving it, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in just a bit. This just a little bit more storage in here. You guys have a light. On the left side, you have your automatic transfer switch and surge guard built into it. Tiffin recommends you have an additional low voltage surge guard on there as well, so consider picking up one of those if you don't have one already. This is a three-way light switch. It's on, off is in the middle, and then the double dash is a motion sensor. So anytime you open up this door, it'll click on for you. These are your primary and secondary tank drains for the air system. If you crack open those valves, you're gonna purge the moisture out of the system. So you should do that really before any time you take a trip. All right, you just crack it open real quick. You might get a little mist, and that's it. Close it back up. Above that is a customer air supply connection. There's a hose on the opposite side. You hook it up to that, and you can fill up bicycle tires or pool toys or car tires, but it's not recommended for the coach tires. They're just too high of a pressure. To the right of that, the black box with the white sticker, that is the electronic slide out control for your back electric slide. All right, and you can reset the slide out from this box right here. There's instructions on it. So good to know just in case you run into some issues. So this is the very last compartment on the passenger side. This is where the chassis batteries for the coach stay, and this is going to start the engine. You have a chassis battery disconnect right above that, and this dial just turns. Basically what you're doing with this, it's like taking the terminals right off the battery. Nothing goes in, and nothing really should come out. It prevents them from discharging quickly. So leave that on when you're using it like normal. If it's plugged in at home, leave that on. This way the batteries can charge if they need to. Also in here, you guys have a plug. That's gonna plug into the top right side. This is your block heater. So diesels in really cold conditions, the diesel fuel will actually gel up, and you want to de-gel that fuel by plugging this in. Now on this cable here, there's little instructions for basically how long to plug this in for, at what temperature, just to make sure that diesel engine block is heated up before giving it a start. Other than that, I mean, there's a lot of chassis. You have some buses down here, some wiring, nothing you're really going to have to worry about or a touch, just these two main things here. All right, this is that additional ladder piece that we talked about earlier. Now this just hooks on to the lowest step already on the motorhome. There's some rubber stoppers here so it doesn't damage your paint. This ladder is rated for 250 pounds, and it's good. You want to hop up on the roof, you know, twice a year, I say. Just check out the seals up there, the lap sealant. Make sure they're not dry rotting or cracking. This is how you get leaks. But that's really it. We're gonna take this down for now. A couple different things back here too. At the very top, you guys have your backup camera, and it doubles as an observation camera. That's going to work while you're traveling down the road, so you can see, you know, maybe what you're towing behind you, or if there's a car right behind you, it can help you merge safer. There's a secondary camera below that as well. That's part of that aerial 360 setup that we talked about just a couple minutes ago. So we'll show you that on the inside. All right, your engine compartment is, you know, it's packed pretty tight, but you can get a good overview of all of the essentials. So on the right side here, you guys have your transmission oil, and if you pop that open, attached to it is also your dipstick. Okay. Below that, engine oil dipstick, and then engine oil fill. You guys have power steering, a couple different filters down here, fuel water separators. This here is your coolant reservoir, and you can keep an eye on your coolant level. Just give it a good check from time to time, make sure, you know, there's no leaks and it's at the level it should be. And this little bulb here with the yellow plunger inside, that's just a reset for your air filter. So over time, this yellow plunger is going to float to the top. That's how you know it's time to reset or replace your air filter. So right above the engine compartment and behind the ladder, there's a little vent. that is for the dryer. It's a dryer vent that's tucked away back there. And on the very bottom you have some hitching material. Left side is your 7-way plug. You have your class 3 hitch. And what Tiffin does is a little special. This is actually a airline connection, all pre-plumbed for an Air Force One tow setup, which is a flat tow system. So that's really it. You know, you could tow a car behind you, you could tow trailers or dollies, what have you. You got a few different options. All right, guys, this is your DEF tank, and if you've had a diesel before, you're probably familiar with this. But what it is, it just helps your engine burn a little bit cleaner. This is, you know, something you don't want to run out of. If you run out of DEF fluid, what's going to happen is the coach goes into a bypass mode. You can't go over a certain mile an hour, and then if you shut it off after that, it won't start again until you fill it up with DEF. So always keep it topped off anytime you can. There is a gauge inside, so you can see when you're getting low, but just a little reminder not to run out of it. Okay, it's very efficient, by the way. I mean, you'll fill up the fuel tank roughly 6 times before you really have to start worrying about this. All right, so this is your power bay, and this is where the power cable is stored. It is on a power retract reel. So if you click this button, it's gonna start pulling itself in, okay? Other than that, it's 50 amps, and this is tied in through the automatic transfer switch we saw on the opposite side. So if you're plugged in and you decide to start turn on the generator, you're not going to hurt anything. It's just going to favor the generator power source instead of the plug. Now this is your Aqua Hot system, and there's really not a whole ton going on outside here that you have to worry about. It's all controlled from the inside. But Aqua Hot is going to run your furnace and give you hot water. The only thing you really want to do out here, now once a year it has to be maintained, so bring it to a dealer. They have to you know, clean the burner nozzle, replace one of the filters. All right, you want to do that every year. You also want to keep an eye on your fluid levels. Right now it's cold, we don't have it running, so this is at a good level. Of course, when you turn it on, that boiler antifreeze is going to start rising up to the top there. But besides that, really not too much going on. This is a little screen. It's a diagnostic for technicians to use if they had to repair something or get into it. But that's really it. I'll show you the operation more on the inside. So just another thing about Aqua Hot too that not a lot of people, people think of when they first get one of these systems is, when it's a diesel burner, it burns diesel to make that heat. And if you're burning diesel, this is the exhaust for it. If you're in a storage facility, you want to be careful, right? If you turn it on just to get some hot water or run the furnace in a storage facility, now you're putting out, toxic fumes into potentially an enclosed area. So just a little reminder to be careful if you're inside running Aqua Hot. It's not recommended, but just a heads up. So this is your wet bay, and let's just start from the top and work our way down. Very top left, it's kind of tough to see, but you have a cable hookup on the left and a tripod satellite hookup on the right. Those are both coax cables. You also have a GFCI power outlet. To the right of it, you have a water pump. Now this isn't the only switch. There's more switches inside. This is just one place to turn it on from. Exterior solar panel hookups, and then a quick monitor panel for all of your tank levels. All right. To the left of it, you guys have a valve to determine how you would like to use your water system. If it's on city water, that means you're hooked up with your water hose and the water is bypassing the holding tank and going right to the fixtures. If you're hooked up with this same connection and you wanted to fill that water tank that we saw on the opposite side, you could just pull this valve down and now it would fill that tank so you could take water with you. You have an outside shower and then a full coach water filter as well, and that's what this little wrench is for. It helps you take it off. This is a spot for sanitizer, so you could place that in there. And the reason they give you sanitizer is because this is where your dump station is. You have your black tank valve on the left and your gray tank valve on the right, and those are color coded so you can't forget. Also down here is where the water pump is located, and they give you an additional hose that hooks up to this water pump in the event that you'd like to winterize. Low point drains are on the right for the hot and cold water lines. Also the Aqua Hot temperature setting as well. I'm going to adjust this for you right now. This just keeps these bays heated when you have your Aqua Hot running. On the very bottom, it's tough to see, but there's a red ball valve, and that's going to drain your water tank if you opened it up. And the very last thing in here is your black tank flush. So when you open up your black tank valve and that all empties out, you should flush it right after while the black tank valve is still open. It just helps clean that tank out a little bit more. One thing I forgot to mention down here is that your water hose, it's a manual pull out, but it's a power retract, and that's what this button is here for. This is just the opposite side to your basement storage. Same with this side. A couple things on the wall there. This slide out tray works in both directions, so we can click out on this side too and operate this slide out tray. So also in this storage bay here, you guys have two disconnects. Now the one on the left is your house battery disconnect, and we'll see those in the next bay. Same thing like we saw on the chassis battery. If you just turn this to off, it's like taking the terminals off. Nothing goes in, and theoretically nothing should go out. Now this is for the inverter switch as well. The inverter is right behind us here. The only time you're really going to use these is in periods where you're storing this RV and you're not using it. You want to turn these disconnects off so your batteries don't die. Also on this panel, you guys have some resettable fuses, and they're all labeled right here. And when these pop, you don't have to replace them. They just pop out and you can click them back in. All right. And to the right, we just have some, house wiring, and beneath that we have your solar charge controllers for the solar panels up on the roof. This is the inverter that we talked about. So what it does is it takes your 12-volt battery power and inverts it to 110, so you can run appliances without being plugged in or having the generator on. It's going to power a lot. It'll power your outlets, the microwave, the fridge, of course, the TVs. You'd have to be conservative with it as well when you're running off battery power, of course, but that's really it. It won't power the ACs. Those take too much draw, but just know that's where it is, and it's all controlled from the inside. This is where the house batteries are at. You guys have 6 house batteries on a slide-out tray. Remember, you always want to keep these charged up. Don't let them freeze, don't let them die. They're expensive to replace. You do want to keep an eye on the fluid levels. So if you pop these off, you can see the distilled water down there. Make sure you keep that at a good level. That's really it. Slide this back in. And to the left of this, in the same storage bay, this is your hydraulic pump. This runs the 2 front main slides and all of your jacks. Really, just keep an eye on it from time to time. Make sure there's no leaks, no hydraulic fluid leaking out of it. Besides that, not too much going on. This is the very front storage bay on the driver's side, last one on the outside. A couple things, main things down here. This is another air connection, and here's the air hose. So, filling up bike tires, car tires. You have some additional fuses down here that are resettable, remember, so you just click them back in. And then really just some chassis and house wiring. That all comes together right here. And the last thing, up in the top right, is the generator release. So if I pull that, we'll see the generator exhaust move. So we can go take a look at that. Now the generator is on the tray itself. It's 10,000 watts, liquid cooled. This means you're gonna have coolant, so you can keep an eye on that level from right there. A few different things on the face of this, and now you have your main breaker. Now, if for some reason you're running this generator and you're not getting any power from it, check the breaker. That might be your issue. Flip it up if it needs to be. You have a meter down here, and that shows you how many hours that it ran for, and also a start switch. Now, both of these are still on the inside of the coach, but we'll start this up here in just a second. This generator is going to power the entire coach. And you can run it going down the road too if you wanted to have some ACs on, or maybe a TV going or something like that. But let's take a look. To start it up, we're gonna hold down on the switch until the red light clicks on. That's going to prime this generator. We're gonna hold that for a second. Now we're gonna come up and click start. And it takes a second sometimes. So to close this generator door, I like to kind of lean into it a little bit because it is a heavy generator. Make sure it latches, just like that, and you're good to go. Last thing on the outside, this is the touch panel. You know, you can do a couple things on it. You can unlock the main door. There's some awning controls, some lights, baggage doors you can unlock from here. There's even a doorbell. As for the keypad itself, there's a page in the manual book that you can use to set this up, but that's all it is. So we're gonna open up the slides now. We're gonna do the front one first on the passenger side. And two things, the e-brake has to be engaged and the key has to be at least in the on position. It's a good idea to start the engine just to make sure you have enough voltage. The slide out switch for the passenger side is on the seat, and we're gonna click and hold this. And this, remember, is on a, runs off of the hydraulic pump, okay? Big thing with these, you always wanna make sure that the seat is far enough forward. That's why Tiffin puts the slide out controls on the seat itself. And that's it. For the driver's side, since it's the same hydraulic ran slide, it's the same exact thing. Just click and hold until it's out all the way. So we're currently in the slide out page on the main control panel. We're gonna open out the driver's side back slide. Now remember, this one is electric, so it's a little bit different. What we're going to do is click extend on this slide out here, and you can see we're going to move the bed slide. Now these slides are a little bit more picky. You don't want to stop in the middle if possible and extend them out all in one motion. Same thing when bringing them in. So we're going to click and hold extend. And we're going to keep an eye on this as it goes out. Now as it goes out, if you wanted to, you know, kind of peek around the corner here, you know, don't worry about keeping your finger exactly on the button. You can kind of slide off from it and it's still going to work. This way you can keep a really good eye on your slide out. So we're gonna start off inside in the back. So we're in the very back of the coach, and this is your washer dryer setup. So, you know, to use it, all you're going to do is turn on, this is the washer down below. On the left side, you have a little key as to, you know, what you want to run. So for example, right now we're on number 1. If we went to number 2, it basically pre-selects all of your settings. And then from there you can click start, and that's going to run for you. Make sure you're plugged in and you have enough you know, room in your holding tanks so you don't overflow them before running this. And then other than that, you have your dryer. And this is just a dial, either high heat or low heat, and then you click start. The back closet, couple things going on. You guys have your safe with some keys and instructions on how to set that up and everything. The back papers here shows you everything appliance-wise that is in this coach. So you have model numbers and serial numbers and different brands, you know, for the ACs and the slide-out toppers. You also have your occupant and carry-on capacity specs down there. On the right side in the back, you have some more fuses that are resettable. You have a GFCI for the plugs, and then resets for the floor heat if those decided to stop working. So your back toilet is not sitting right over the top of the black tank, so it has to pump everything up to the front. So you have a little switch on the left side here. The one adds water, okay, and then the switch on the right, if you click that, it's going to add water and then flush it down and pump it up to that black tank. Okay, so that's your toilet. You guys have some, you know, towel racks, some breakers. This is for the entire coach. Everything's labeled. So if you pop a breaker, you can come back here and check it out. Reset it if you have to. All right, guys, this is your shower. You know, pretty straightforward. Couple things though, up on the top, you know, this is your skylight. And if you wanted a little additional privacy, there's a little slide that closes with an LED light that you can use. Other than that though, your shower head has a water stopper on it to save water. It telescopes up and down that pole, and then you have just the shower controls down there. Dual vanity sink in the back. You have hand soap reservoirs on each side, some plugs, and a towel holder right there. Left side we have some lights for the overhead cabinet, vanity lights. You have your fantastic fan back here as well. So this is the lid open for it, and the fan itself, water pump switch. So just some quick controls. This is going to open up the fan in the ceiling, and if we turn that on, that's a really high powered fan. You should use that when you're showering, just to kind of take some of the moisture out. And if you take this piece down, there's some additional controls up there as well. Fan speeds, reversible, and temperature control. Now your sliding doors are latched open, so you have to pull down on the latch in the face of it to close it. And then use the latch to open it as well. There's a little magnet here too to help keep it closed. Both sides of the bed have USB ports that you can use to plug in your phones. A little bit of storage on each side. So the real nice thing about this Tiffin is that you have real in-depth touchscreen panels on each side of the bed that you can do pretty much anything and everything from here. I mean, you can turn on your air conditioners, your heating, you can check your battery status, turn on some fans. You know, most screens next to the bed are very minimal, but this controls the majority of the coach. Now, the touchscreen panel in the hallway is more in depth, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. Just know that this panel emulates that, essentially. The other part to this touchscreen that's specific to the bedroom is the fact that there's a TV lift in here. So we're going to click that and allow our TV to lift up. So now our TV is up. It's a very similar setup to as what we saw outside. We have a TV, the sound bar, and you know, you can play the TV through the sound bar. Left side we have some storage, some cabinets, of course your fireplace, and this is a really good source of electric heat. Comes with a remote for some basic operations, but we can see, oops, that turned on right there. On the right side we have some more storage, and then some of our appliances for our TVs, like satellite receiver and Blu-ray player. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about your TVs and, you know, the functions of them. So right now we have the bedroom TV on, and we're just going off of the antenna. We are not hooked up to anything exterior, just over-the-air TV. So before you turn it on, anytime you get to a campsite, you're going to want to channel scan for those local TV stations. So what we'll do is we'll go into settings. We're going to scroll down, if you see on the right side, into all settings and select that. On the left side here we see channels. We'll come down to that, click OK, and then channel tuning. Okay, if we click in this, will let us channel scan. So you'll want to do this anytime you go into a new campsite, just to make sure you get all the local TV stations. Now, on the right side on our cabinet over here, there's a lot of different things. So we have your Blu-ray player, and we have a satellite receiver. And it's already all set up for dish. So all you have to do is call the number on here, give them the serial number on the bottom, and you can set up your plan. Each TV works independently, but all the appliances talk to each TV. So right now we're watching TV antenna on this bedroom TV, but up front someone could be watching satellite. Outside someone could be watching Blu-ray. It's they're all independent of one another. And even though the outside TV is far away from these two players, the infrared sensors on each TV allow you to control each of these no matter where you're at. You guys have a lot of remotes. Okay, you have a remote for each TV. So that's 4 right off the bat. 1 for the satellite receiver, 1 for each sound bar, and 1 for the front radio as well. So that's really it. We're going to keep those all in the bag for you. Underneath, your Blu-ray player and satellite receiver, there's a little door here. Nothing going on really. It's just your HDMI splitters, and it ties all of the TVs together. So nothing you're going to have to mess with. Just know that's what's behind here. Now we're going to cover the main control panel of the coach. You can do pretty much anything and everything from this. All right, this is the main page, and there's little buttons on the bottom that takes us into different pages. But this is the home screen, just an overview of everything. Top left, you can see some quick access to lighting, even the galley shade, which is in the bathroom, or excuse me, the kitchen. Right side here, you can see your tank levels for fresh, gray, black, and diesel. You have a water pump switch and Aqua Hot as well. There's more of this on the next pages. You can see your zone temperatures and just a quick overview of what's going on with the battery and the power control. But let's click on the next screen so we can see a little bit more. This is almost all of the lighting for the entire coach. And it's broken down into exterior, main area, bedroom, and then the bathrooms. The ones with the little arrows are ones that have dimmers installed in them. So if we click and hold, now we can dim the lights in a certain area. So that's pretty neat. Now if you turn on and off different lights from here, you can go into a different area with a different touchscreen and turn them back on. Everything's all tied together. That's part of that multiplex wiring. Okay. We also have a light master, which turns everything off, okay, and then turns it back on again. So really neat. Next page is your power control or power management system. You can see what power is coming in, where it's going through, and how it's being managed. Your electrical management system is going to kind of pull your power into different places just to make sure you don't pop fuses or blow breakers or anything like that. Just leave that on all the time. Bottom left shows your charging system and your inverting system. Always leave the charger on when you're plugged in. This way your batteries constantly get a charge. Inverter is what you're going to want to click on when you're going down the road, so you can use power outlets, power up the fridge, maybe microwave something. It takes that battery power, inverts it into 110. So that's a really good system to use there. Also on this screen we can turn on the generator. It's a one click and it starts it up. And then on the bottom right we have AGS. AGS stands for Automatic Generator Start. And you can tell this system to basically, in times when you're not plugged in, to turn on the generator when the battery voltage gets too low, or maybe the coach gets too hot and you need the ACs to start running. That's really good for pet owners. So the settings are, this is great. This is something they started doing recently. Easy setup, walks you through a bunch of yes/no questions and how you would like it to run, and you can set it up based off your own preferences. So that's a quick overview of the power screen and really what you're going to use. The next one is your HVAC, or heating and cooling. You have a rear zone, mid, and front, and you can see the temperatures for each. Now, each zone you can either run heat, or AC, which is through the ceiling, the heat pump, which is electric heat ran through the AC, okay, the furnace, and that's for each zone. Now remember, as we spoke about earlier, the furnace is ran through Aqua Hot. So if you want to run the furnace, you have to have your diesel burner on in order for that to work. Same thing with the hot water. That's going to give you on-demand, basically endless hot water as long as you have a supply. Now if you want to save the diesel and turn on the hot water with just electric, Aqua Hot Electric, you can turn on that way as well. That's a quick overview. Also on this page you have your floor heat, and you can turn that on. The zone, or there's two zones. It's split right in this area, so you have a front and a rear. Aqua Hot settings, same thing. We saw this outside just for diagnostics for a technician. We already took a look at this. This is your slide out controls for the back two slides only. Remember, these ones are electric, so you want to hold them in all in one motion or push them out all in one motion too. Okay, this is for the bed slide, and this is for the TV slide on the opposite side. You can do the front slides from here, but it gives you a warning to not do it, because remember, we want to look at the front seats to make sure they're pulled up far enough so we don't hit them. Next page, these are all the day shades and night shades in the front of the coach. Anything from here back is manual pull down shades. So we can lower all the shades. Now there's day and night. Okay. And we can bring them up from here too. Now you can work them individually as well with these sides, but you can do them all at once if you wanted to. The next page, the little gear cogs down there, these are to control the fantastic fans in the ceiling. We already saw the one in the back bathroom, but you also have one in the kitchen and one in the mid bath as well. Also on here you have the ceiling fan for the bedroom, a TV lift for the main TV, and then locks for the bay and for the main door. And the last screen is just some settings. Okay, you can change the colors of the screen, change the time setting, And other than that, there's just some diagnostics for like technicians to use. Not too much you're really going to do on this last page here. So that's an overview of everything on this panel. It really does the majority of the coach and anything you need to do. So it's a great system. So your mid-bathroom, not a whole ton going on. You have another toilet, and the controls are on the left side. You can see the little handle. Up on the handle adds water. Pressing it down will flush. You also have a GFCI power outlet, some storage up above, nice little sink, and then on the wall in here you have some controls for like the water pump and some lights. And that's really all there is. Now we're in your kitchen. Couple things going on. Now we have a little panel on the left side for, you know, quick access for the water pump, the fan, some lighting. All right. Overhead storage. Each of them have a little pull-out tray. All right. Now your sink with covers, you can set those aside. There's some grates that they give you in there too, which is really nice. Right. Additional storage. Underneath as well, you have a little pull-out tray. Okay, with a garbage can. Yeah, so tons of space. All right. The sink has a little pull-out nozzle, and you also have a little hand pump reservoir for soap. Right side, this is your induction cooktop. Now, if you remember, we saw the cookware in the basement underneath the coach. That's a little starter kit to get using on this, but any induction cookware would work fine. Once you set it on top, you can turn on the system and adjust your temperature, but it's not going to do anything now because we don't have the cookware on there yet. It has to sense it in order for it to work. Make sure you're plugged in or you have the generator running before you try to use this. Backside, we have some power outlets, USB and 110. Up above, we have the convection microwave, all of your cookware and supplies in there. So it defaults to microwave, but if you click convec, you can select your temperatures and use this more of like an oven. So pretty neat. Underneath the induction, we have your dishwasher, and this is controlled with a two-touch operation. You select the type of load that you would like to run. Once you click play and close this, that should start for you. You have a little pull-out countertop in here too. There's a little T-handle up here. You give it a pull, and then the whole thing comes out here. In this same pull-out, you have additional storage, little silverware. There's all of your remotes. Okay. Up above, same thing, some storage. And the only thing we didn't really talk about was the galley shade in this area, which is on this touch screen. If you click down on that, it's just a night shade. There's no day shade. That'll come down for you. So pretty neat. Now this is your residential fridge. A lot of the controls are on the face of it. You can shut the fridge off with this little button there. We're going to leave that on for you now, just so it stays cold. Temperature settings and the recommended temperature, and that's where they're set at right now. But you know, just some settings that you'd have on a fridge. You can select between ice or water, you know, the door alarm, temperature alarm, those kind of things. Inside the fridge, top right hand, replacement water filter for the drink and the ice. And the left side here, if we click this button and pull this out, the ice maker on and off switch, it's tough to see, but if you reach back there, click it on, this will start making ice for you. Bottom is your freezer with some trays and some chest storage underneath. This is your pantry that pulls out. Pretty neat. There's a button on the top, and this is used for when you are driving. This is going to lock, so you would then have to click this button to open this. So your dinette area, you have a lot of storage on the left, underneath, down the right side. That's a little another pop-up power station like we saw in the kitchen. Storage all across the top as well. And when you pull the slides in, you're only going to want to have the two dinette chairs here. That's what the additional ones are for in the basement that we saw. But this pulls out just a little bit more to make space for those two dinette chairs. So in the sofa area, you guys have some controls for this area, different lighting. You guys have another hidden TV back here, and that's the lift for it. You also have some power plugs on this side. All right. Another TV lift is found on this side here, so you can click up on this button and bring up your TV. Your sofa is also a air mattress. I'll show you how that works. Pop off both your cushions. And there's a little handle that you're going to give a pull on. And this is all just kind of come out on its own. Little handle, flip it back. Now that's your air mattress. To inflate it, there's some controls over here that you're going to use. Now this is going to plug into this piece on the left side, and then you have inflate and deflate, and that'll fill up for you. Now when you fold it up, when the mattress is deflating, this little bar kind of pushes out the remainder of the air. I'll just give it a lift and a push back in so we can put the cushions back on. So your theater seats, they're all powered. The controls, one of them is going to work the footrest, and then as that reclines, you can operate the headrest independently. So really comfy, and we'll bring it all back and it resets itself on its own. Cup holders, USB ports, and storage for the remotes. Alright, so now we're in the slide screen and we're going to close up the back slides here. We are going to do the bed slide. Now remember, no stopping in the middle if possible. Always check the perimeter, make sure nothing's in the way, all of your cabinets are closed. We look good right now, so we're going to click and hold retract. Alright, now for the front slide, just a reminder, key in the on position or engine started, and the brake has to be engaged or else they won't come in. Now that pitching is completely normal for it to tilt back like that and then come in. Okay, so now we're sitting in the passenger seat. A couple controls on the right hand side. On the back side, it's tough to see now, but you have a wireless charging station for your phone. So if you set your phone on it, it'll charge. You have some USB ports, a cup holder, and then another one of those panels that emulates that main screen that we talked about. The same ones that are on the side of the bed. This one has some additional features though. You have the step cover, extend and retract. So whoever's sitting passenger can close this, kind of have something to put their feet on, and that'll come all the way out. All right, we'll bring that back. And then you have some, some shade controls on this side, and then your fan as well. All right. Next to us, we have like a little co-pilot screen. We'll just accept that. You can control your navigation from this. You can take a look at your camera. You can see the backup camera, and you can also now see, this is what we were talking about earlier, the 360-degree view around the coach. So that's a really neat feature to have. But you can set new GPS settings or what have you from here. So neat little system, and that's all on the right side here. So now we're in the driver's seat, and we're going to talk about the controls over here. We have driver solar shade and driver night shade, which are the ones on our left side here. We have ATC, which stands for traction control. Engine brake, we can turn that on either high or low brake. And then you're going to use this when you're going down a hill and you want a little additional braking. So if you don't want to be laying on your actual brakes too much, the engine turns into a big compressor essentially and will help slow you down. We also have air horn. So we have normal, air. All right, up above that we have our shifter. We can go into reverse, neutral, or drive, and then once we release the air brake, this is going to work like a normal automatic transmission. Plus or minus to change a gear, and then different modes for you as well. The window is on power. You can slide that open if you see it behind the sun screen there. We have USB plugs, 12 volt like a cigarette lighter, and then your mirror controls as well, so left or right, and then mirror heat. The engine brake release we already talked about. Headlights, you have to turn those on manually, and then in-dash brightness. Underneath those you have manual pedals that you can bring in and out, so we can bring them further away from us or a little bit closer. Auxiliary start, this is a nice little feature to have. If you ever go to start your engine and for some reason it doesn't turn on, you can click and hold this momentary switch, crank the engine, and it'll give you a jump start from the house batteries. Last thing here is your engine preheat. We talked about that on the outside. If you turn that on, it heats your engine block and degels the diesel fuel. The last thing over on this side, this is the knob that will control all of the digital dash behind the steering wheel. So how this works, it's a dial. So the bottom little chrome piece is going to go to the left or to the right, and this top joystick can click left, right, up, down, and even click as well. So that's how we're going to control this dash in front of us. So this is your digital dash, and there's a lot going on in this. It definitely is going to take some time to play around with, but we'll give you the overview here today. Left side you can see oil pressure, engine temperature, of course your speedometer, and a digital readout for that. Bottom side we have your diesel fuel. Right now we're about a half tank. It says gen for generator. That just shows you right here where it's red. It shows you where the generator is no longer going to turn on if you're below that point on your diesel, just so you don't leave yourself stranded. You have some trip info. On the right side here we see the pressure of our air tanks for the air ride system, and you know, when you turn the coach on, they're going to auto air up to the pressure they need to be at. Bottom left we see our def gauge. So right now we're full, and over time, you know, that's going to go down, so keep an eye on that. Remember, you'd never want to run out of def fluid. Right side is your battery, just the voltage. The big thing here is inside the screen. That's what we're going to use this dial for. This is anywhere from checking your tire pressure to leveling to just changing some of the displays and trips inside of your screen here. So trip 1, we see that we just reset. If we turn the dial, if we twist the little chrome part, we can see our tire pressure monitoring system. We can see our temperature, or excuse me, our pressure and our temperature. Next screen is our accelerator position, leveling, some pre-drive checklist. You can change your brightness, and then even click into the settings here and change anywhere from your graphics screen or schemes on the back, your backgrounds. You can change your needle color if you wanted to. So there's a lot of cool different settings that you can do in here and really customize it to how you like it. But we're going to go back and we're going to talk a little bit more about leveling. And we're going to enter into this. We're going to click down on the joystick. The very first screen, we have some options. You can go into travel, auto level, more, which breaks it down, and then you can back out of the system. So if we go into more, this is really going to allow us to do everything with leveling. Travel mode allows us to pick our travel heights. We can go into auto level and bring it into air auto. Air auto is going to, instead of bring down the jacks, it's going to adjust our airbags instead and level us out that way in places that, you know, don't allow you to bring your jacks down. Okay, we're going to back out of this. We can manually level with air if we wanted to, so we can control each and every corner. We can do just the front left, just the front together, just the right, or just the right side. So you can really dial in how you level out your coach just with air alone. If we go down to manual jacks, same thing. You can manually level with your jacks independently. You can do the front left jack, the front right, really dial it in. Once again, same thing as the air leveling. Okay, but if we go into auto level, that's what, you know, you're probably going to use most. You're going to go into jacks auto. And what that's going to do is dump the air out of the coach and then bring those jacks down and level out for you all on its own. All right, that's the best way to do it, and it's the easiest way as well. So we're just going to put ourselves in the standby mode so nothing starts working on its own. that's a good breakdown of it right there. Yeah, but if we click into travel mode and we want to go back and you know, hit the road, we can click standard ride. That's going to bring our airbags back to where they should be, and then we can hit the road there. So it's a great system. It's really in depth. It's a lot more than what the previous coaches had. If you didn't want to break it down that much, you can just go into auto level, click jack leveling, and it's just going to do it from the home page here. You don't have to get into all of those different screens. So now we're lowering the air out of the bags, and then the jacks are going to come down in just a minute. So great system. Real in depth if you want it to be, but not necessary. So you guys have some controls in your steering wheel. Left side, you guys have flashing your high beams. You also have the control back here that just clicks on your high beam. Okay, and turns it on and off. This just flashes it. You have cruise control, so on and off, set, cancel, or resume. A little trick with this is if when you start your engine and you want it to heat up quicker or have the airbags fill up quicker, you can turn cruise control on and then click set. And that's going to bring our RPMs up a little bit to get the coach at ride height just a little bit quicker. It's a little neat feature for you. This right here is flashers. So if we click this, it's just a momentary switch. We're flashing our lights around the coach right now. You may have seen truckers do this. Basically what it means is if like someone lets you in, it's kind of like a thank you when you flash that, or you know, letting someone know they can merge in front of you. Below that, wipers. So you have wiper fluid, different speeds, and that's really it for the steering wheel. This is your radio navigation system. Pretty much all of the entertainment for up front here. This will always bring you back so you can select different options, but you can select radio and choose your different options, set your favorite stations, or just you know channel scan, just like a normal radio. You guys have Sirius XM, Bluetooth where you can connect your phone to this, hooking aux cables, or you know, really anything like that. Now navigation is also in this screen. We're just going to accept here. Just like we saw on the passenger controls, you know, we can choose a destination, new location. It's just a normal GPS. You can set this up to know the length of this coach, the height of it, the width of it, and the weight, just so it doesn't take you down any route that you're not supposed to be going down. So feel free to set that up if you'd like to. You can go into your camera system. The right one is always on camera, but you could do both if for some reason you wanted to. Now when you hit the turn signals on the front here, it's going to light up both, and you're going to see the right side. If you hit the left signal, you're going to see the left side. So really nice if you're trying to merge lanes safely, and it's a really responsive system too. The right side always shows you the backup. Now the neat thing about it, we talked a little bit about this earlier. This is the 360 view of your coach. We still have the one slide out in the back, so you can still see that a little bit. It looks kind of funny, but when that slide is in, everything, you're going to see a complete aerial 360 view of your coach. This white piece here is the RV. This way, when you're backing up, though, you can see what's going on in the corners. This way, you don't back into anything, or you don't clip a curb or something like that. So, really neat system. It's only on the 2021s. I think you're really going to like that. Bottom side here, we have a bunch of switches. We have the step cover again, driver fan, accent lighting, which just dims or brightens down here. So we can dim that down. Solar shade up in the front, and night shade. Generator start and stop, same switch that we saw outside. Map lights, dock lights for outside, so when you're backing up, you have some additional lighting at nighttime. And then the radio camera is if you shut off the key for the ignition and you want to use these systems, you can flick on that switch and it's going to boot these systems up again for you. Alright, other than that, just some HVAC controls and a USB port. So also in your driver's seat too, we have a lot of controls here. We have 6-way seats for adjustment. This one is going to control the backrest. Okay. Heat as well. High and low. The left side I know you can't see, but there's a little lever that if you pull up, it's going to allow you to swivel these seats. Okay. Armrest comes down. Once it's down, you're going to lift up on this lever, and that allows you to adjust it on the way down. We are now in the compartment right overhead of the driver's seat. 2 panels in here. Jaboni, these are the monitor panels for the solar panels up on top. Just shows you, the voltage coming in and the amperage that they're charging at, right? Nothing you're really going to want to change in there. Antenna and cable. If you're going to watch TV on antenna, you leave it on antenna. If you hook up to the exterior cable, click that. Okay, and that changes the feed. Satellite system. Once you subscribe to Dish and you get it all set up, you're going to want to turn on the satellite, of course, before you go turn on the receiver and get stationed. So that'll track automatically for you and find TV stations. And this is the same thing that we saw outside when we were opening up the front and back awnings. It pops out if you wanted to use this instead, but you have to unlock the panel and then you have your different channels. Okay, so in and out, lights, just like we saw outside with that remote. So last couple things, guys, before we wrap up here. You have another panel, touchscreen panel, like the ones we saw next to the bed. Down here, there are some controls on it that are unique, like locking the doors and locking the baggage doors. The door awning, right over top of this door, is controlled from this panel as well. Okay, as well as everything else that we talked about. So, other than that, the last thing in this compartment up here, nothing you're going to do with this. It's in the manual book to set it up. It is the Wi-Fi Ranger, and that is going to pull Wi-Fi from a local source into the coach that you can connect to. So if you were, say, down the street from like a Tim Hortons, it would pull their Wi-Fi source in so you could connect to it. And how to set that up is all in the manual book. Just know that's what that is. Once again, congratulations on the purchase of your new 2021 Allegro bus. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call here. Our number is 716-694-0188. Safe travels.